Samano mantraha samitihi samani. Samanam manaha sahachittamesha. Samanam mantram apimantrayevaha. Samanena vo havisha juhomi. Samaniva akutihi. Samana hridayani vaha. Samanamastu vo mano. Yatavaha susahasati. Namaskara. Namaste to everyone. Today in America, it is Rigveda Upakarma. So I did the first mantra and the last mantra of Rigveda as the Shanti mantra today. And this is just in honor of my father. Nyastatmiya baram varaprada gurau vairagya bhagyo dadau Vedanta amritasaravanta managha Sri Srinivasad guroho Sri Sailanmaya kaustubhasya tanayam Shreyo nidhe Srinidhe Vande sadhu katakshakeli nilayam Shri Krishna saddheshikam Gita sugita kartavya Kimanye shastra sangrahaihi Yaspayam padmanabhasya Mukhapadma tvinistrita. The slide I have shows where exactly Bhagavad Gita fits in among the Hindu scriptures. We have plenty of Hindu scriptures. And as you can see here, Vedas as our four Vedas as our primary text. And each Veda is also further divided into Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, and Upanishads. Actually, the two verses of Rigveda I did is from the Rigveda Samhita. And there are also auxiliary texts needed to understand the Vedas. These are the Shiksha, the Chandas, Nirukta, Vyakarana, Jyotisha, and Kalpa. And of course, the Mahabharata is considered kind of the fifth Veda. And although we say four Vedas, the Yajurveda has two main branches. One is called the Shukla Yajurveda, another is the Krishna Yajurveda. We also have the body of Darshanas. These are the various six philosophies: Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. And also we have Charuvaka and Ajivika. Those are the kind of Gnostic or atheistic works. Interestingly, there is Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, and Mimamsa. They are, that's right, they don't have any multiple interpretations, I think, as far as I know, as much as the Vedanta philosophy. Vedanta is basically the Upanishads. Another name for Upanishads is Vedanta. So Vedanta has many different kinds of interpretations. It leads to Dvaita, Dvaita, Vishishta, Dvaita, 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 all those things. But the beauty of Bhagavad Gita is it took all these six darshanas and it is kind of a harmonization of diverse concepts. That is what this Bhagavad Gita is. So all our eternal concepts of Sanatana Dharma is described in the major Upanishads. They call the Prasthanatraya. Major Upanishads are 10 to 12. And then, of course, the aphorisms called Brahma Sutra, composed by Vyasa, and Bhagavad Gita. Those two, Upanishads and Brahma Sutra, are called the Shruti Prasthanas, whereas Bhagavad Gita is called the Smriti Prasthana. So together with this, we have the Prasthanatrayas. They also have Upaveda, Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharva Veda, and all those things. These are the things which represent the foremost concepts of Sanatana Dharma. Because the knowledge itself, the Vedas is knowledge, and it says Anantavai Vedaha. Knowledge is endless. There is always limitation is typically in the wisdom. So now we know exactly where Bhagavad Gita sits here in the context of all Hindu scriptures. And we hear a lot of words in Gita of the Gnanam, Vijnanam like that. lot of times they are translated as knowledge, but typically I like to say gnanam is wisdom. It is eternal. It is revolving. That is eternal concept. Whereas Vijnanam is a specialized gnanam. That is a know-how, is knowledge. It is evolving. For example, hygiene is an eternal principle, cleanliness. At one time, we are using cow dung for hygiene. Today, we use Procter & Gamble products. So that kind of keeps changing. So Vijnanam changes, whereas Gnanam always is revolving, whereas Vijnanam is evolved. So with this brief introduction, now you know where exactly Bhagavad Gita sits. So now I will change my screen and let us start the jump into Bhagavad Gita. The material I'm using here is basically from Hari. He used it for his workshop, and instead of rediscovering the wheel, I'm just using that. So let's start with the first chapter. This chapter is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. This is the Arjuna's despair. And there was no such name in the original Mahabharata for this each adhyaya of Bhagavad Gita, but it is by the latter days scholars and saints who gave names for them, highlighting what is going on in that. So let's start with Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Imakurvata Sanjaya. It's a quite simple verse. Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Dhritarashtra is asking Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamakaha. Here's one compound word. Pandavaha Cha Eva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. So Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjaya, in this battlefield, which is called Kurukshetra, it is also a sacred site of Kurus. They were doing a lot of yagnas and things like that. So it is also Dharmakshetra. So Samaveta Yuyutsavaha. You have people who have gathered Mamakaha, my people, and Pandavaha, Pandava side people. They have Samaveta gathered here, Yuyutsavaha, eager to fight. So what did they do? Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. What did they do? You can see here two crucial words here is, Dhritarashtra is saying, Mamakaha. That means my people. Actually, Pandavas are also, after all, his brother's children, but he's kind of drawing a barrier between the two. Mamakaha. Another word here is Yuyutsavaha. They are eager to fight. If we know the background, we know that only Duryodhana was eager to fight. He gives the impression that both the sides were equally eager to fight, but that everything was tried to avoid war. In fact, Krishna went to Dhritarashtra's court and requested for just five villages for the 5 Pandavas. But Duryodhana said that he would not even give enough land which would fit the tip of a needle. So the war was inevitable. And even if the Pandavas had walked away without having anything, Duryodhana would have felt that they were going to plot something, they will come back and attack him, something will happen. Otherwise, why would they walk away? He only wanted them either barbecued or fried or medium rare or well done. So there was no choice for them. Either they had to be haunted by him or have to face the war. So that's how it happens. So we'll repeat it now. Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre.
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre.
Samaveta Yuyutsavaha.
Samaveta Yuyutsavaha.
मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव
मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव
किमकुर्वत सञ्जय.
किमकुर्वत सञ्जय.
So Sanjaya answers. Sanjaya is of course his secretary. Sanjaya uvacha drishtva tu pandavanikam vyudham duryodhanastada acharyamupasangamya raja vachanamabravit. So Sanjaya says, Raja or Dhritarashtra, after seeing Drishtva, having seen the Pandava Anikam, the army of Pandavas in the formation, Duryodhana, after seeing that, Tada Duryodhana went to Acharya. His Acharya is Drona, Upasangamya, went close to him and addressed Drona. This is kind of interesting that after seeing the gathering of the army, formation, everything here, Anikam is army, Vyudam is arrayed, formation. These are all different formations in the war. And Duryodhana is approaching Drona. Actually, the commander-in-chief for the Kaurava army was Bhishma, not Drona was his guru. He was only going to the commander-in-chief after Bhishma has been defeated. But he still approaches Drona because for Duryodhana, he knows that he cannot talk much to Bhishma because Bhishma's heart is always on Pandava's side, whereas Drona is actually and she is hired by the Kauravas, so he has to have complete loyalty to Kaurava's side. So he goes and approaches Drona. Sanjaya uvacha.
Sanjaya uvacha.
Drishtva tu pandavanikam.
Drishtva tu pandavanikam.
Vyudham duryodhanastada.
Vyudham duryodhanastada.
Acharyamupasangamya.
Acharyamupasangamya.
Raja vachanamabravit.
Raja vachanamabravit.
He says, Pashyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. He addresses Drona telling that Etam Panduputranam Pashyaitam. Look at this, all the sons of Pandu, Acharya, and their great army, Mahatim Chamu, the formation, Vyudam Drupada Putrena. Drupada Putra is Drishtadyumna. The Vyudam is the formation as per arranged with Drishtadyumna. And the Drishtadyumna is who? He is Tava Shishyena Dhimata. So he is your student. You made him Dhimata. So basically, your student whom you made him great is leading the army of the Pandavas. So and look at the formation, what he has made. So in other words, he is telling, oh teacher, look at the mighty Pandava army. It is arrayed in battle formation by your talented student, the son of Drupada. Here again is sitting below the belt to Drona. Drona and Drupada are kind of enemies, and he is bringing up Drupada's name, Drupada's son, Drishtadyumna. On the top of that, he is telling that he is your student. So here, your student is the commander-in-chief of the Pandava army. So he is like a full-fledged professor. So you are just a warrior today. You are just a postdoc, right? So he is kind of instigating Drona to give a good fight, kind of saying that how your student is commander-in-chief, but you are just and you made him great. So he is already in a higher position than you, right? So, Pashyaitam Panduputranam.
Pashyaitam Panduputranam.
Acharya Mahatim Chamum.
Acharya Mahatim Chamum.
Vyudham Drupada Putrena.
Vyudham Drupada Putrena.
Tava Shishyena Dhimata.
तव शिष्येण धीमता.
Then he talks about the Pandava army. Atra Shura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharataha. Here you see Shura, great heroes, mighty. They are very good. Ishu means arrow. Maheshwasaha, Ishu Asaha, the one who can hurl the arrow. So these are mighty people who are very good with arrows, how they can hurl those arrows. So they are great archers, basically, great archers, or mighty archers, you can say. And the interesting thing is, he says, Bhima, Arjuna, Sama, Yudhi. They are equivalent to Bhima and Arjuna. As we know that both Bhima and Arjuna are one of the great warriors. And Duryodhana is saying that there are many people like Bhima and Arjuna on the Pandava army. Bhima, Arjuna, Sama, Yudhi, they are equivalent to them. And he gives some names, Yuyudhana, Virata, and Drupada. So again, the Drupada's name comes here. And these are all Maharathas. These are all great, mighty warriors. One who is skilled in warfare and can fight 10,000 warriors at once. Those are the Maharathas. So he has described the Pandava army as very valiant, right? So Atra Shura Maheshwasa
अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा
Bhimarjuna Samayudhi
भीमार्जुनसमायुधि
Yuyudhano Viratascha
युयुधानो विराटश्च
Drupadascha Maharataha.
द्रुपदश्च महारथः.
Then it continues describing more warriors on that side. Drishtaketuste Kitanaha Kashi Rajascha Vidyavan Purujit Kunti Bhojascha Shaibhyascha Narapungavaha. So you have Drishtaketu, Chekitana, the valiant king of Kashi, Purujit, Kunti Bhoja, and the best of men, Shaibhya. Basically, names of many warriors on Pandava's side. Drishtaketusche Kitanaha
धृष्टकेतुश्च कितानः
Kashi Rajasta Vidyavan
काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान्
Purujit Kunti Bhojascha
पुरुजित्कुन्तिभोजश्च
Shaibhyascha Narapungavaha.
शैब्यश्च नरपुङ्गवः.
One thing you will notice in Vyasa's work, especially in Gita, is he's a teetotaler. He writes cha, 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 a lot of cha. He loves using a lot of cha. You will see probably that is the most common word in the Bhagavad Gita, maybe coming few hundred times. And continues describing the Pandava army. Yudha Manyascha Vikranta Uttamaujasta Viryavan Saubhadro Draupadeyascha Sarva Eva Maharathaha. So now he says that you have the courageous Yudhamanyu, the brave Uttamaujas, Abhimanyu, sons of Draupadi. They are all great warriors. So has described quite a few number of people from the Pandavas. Yudhamanyasta Vikranta
युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्त
Uttamaujascha Viryavan
उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान्
Saubhadro Draupadeyascha
सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च
Sarva Eva Maharathaha.
सर्व एव महारथाः.
Now he talks about, he has introduced the Pandava army quite well. Now he talks about his own army. Asmakantu Vishishtaye Tani Bodha Vijottama Nayaka Mama Sainyasya Sangnartam Tan Bravimite. He says Asmakam, our side is also truly distinguished. There are a lot of eminent warriors here. So Dvijottama is reference to Drona, again, the best of the twice born, the highest among the twice born, or you can also say just as the Brahmanas, but Kshatriyas are also twice born. They are also Dvijas. So I will tell you the leaders or commanders from our side, for your information, Sangnartham, for the purpose of knowing them. Of course, you already know them, but just to bring their name. So likewise, both Vijottama, take a look at the distinguished warriors on our side. I shall briefly name the leaders of my order. अस्माकन्तु विशिष्टाये
अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये
तान् निबोध द्विजोत्तमा
तार्निबोधद्विजोत्तमा
नायका मम सैन्यस्य
नायका मम सैन्यस्य
संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते
संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते.
Now he talks about some of those people. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitinjayah Ashvathama Vikarnascha Somadatte Tathaivacha. Of course, Bhavan, you yourself, that is referring to Drona, you are there. Then there is Bhishma, then also Karna, then Kripa, Samitinjaya, Ashvathama, Vikarna, Somadatti is actually Bhurishravas, his other name is. So besides yourself, Bhishma, Karna, the victorious Kripa, Ashvathama, Vikarna and Bhurishravas are there. I want to point out here that Karna was actually not yet in the battlefield because, as I mentioned last time, he comes up only after Bhishma has fallen. And I made a mistake telling that Bhishma did not want Karna to be on the battlefield. But Hari corrected me today. He said that it was Karna's wish. Karna did not like to fight as long as Bhishma is leading the army. So it is not really Bhishma's fault. I think Bhishma had objection only about Shikhandi being in the battlefield, but he had no objection about Karna, although there was a lot of animosity between the two. In fact, after Bhishma has fallen, interestingly, Karna goes and asks for his permission to fight. Interesting kind of thing. But actually, it was Karna's decision not to fight when Bhishma is leading the army. So I wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Hari. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha
भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च
Kripascha Samitinjayah
कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः
Ashvathama Vikarnascha
अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च
Somadatte Tathaivacha
सौमदत्तिस्तथैव च.
अन्ये च बहवः शूरा मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः. So he is not giving too many names. He just says अन्ये च बहवः शूराः. There is many other heroes are there. And Madarte, for my sake, Chakta Jivitaha. They have already given up their life for my sake. And they are, of course, an expert in Nana Shastra, different weapons, Praharanaha, in discharging them. They are very expertise in those things. Sarve Yuddha Visharadaha. They are all highly skilled, proficient in the battle. So there are many other heroes armed with a variety of weapons, each skilled in the art of war. All of them are prepared to give up their life for my sake. Actually, some people interpret as Chakta Jivitaha is already given up their life, not ready to give up, they've already given up. So it shows the selfishness of Duryodhana. There was no other good reason they are all with him, only for his sake. अन्ये च बहवः शूराः
अन्ये च बहवः शूराः
मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः
मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः
नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः
नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः
सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः
सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः
अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितं paryaptam tu tvidamete balam bhima virakshitam. Here aparyaptam tat asmakam balam bhishma abhirakshitam. Paryaptam tu idam etesham balam bhima virakshitam. Bhima abhirakshitam. So aparyaptam is has two meanings. It means unlimited, inadequate, insufficient, or unbound, incomplete. Aparyaptam can mean unlimited. When you say unlimited, that means is plenty of it is there. But it also can mean insufficient, incomplete, unbounded, or inadequate. So it has opposite meaning. One meaning can be it is unlimited, another meaning it's insufficient. It is almost like priceless, it can also be worthless. So asmakam, tati asmakam, our army is aparyaptam. So you can keep it as our army is sufficient, limitless or insufficient. It is protected by Bhishma because he was the commander-in-chief. Balam Bhishma abhirakshitam. Then paryaptam. Paryaptam means limited, sufficient. It can mean again opposite meaning. You can say limited or sufficient and adequate. So again the opposite meaning. To idam etesham, their army, which is protected by Bhima. Balam Bhima abhirakshitam. It's kind of interesting. It was Bhishma was leading the Kaurava army, Drishtadyumna was leading the Pandava army, but Duryodhana says that our army is protected by Bhishma, their army is protected by Bhima. And our army is unlimited or inadequate. We don't know. It's open, it's an enigmatic word. And on the kind of Bhima's side, there is sufficient or insufficient or limited. It is sufficient or limited. So there's different ways of looking at it. One way is it doesn't make any sense to say that both the sides are sufficient. One side has to be better than the other in this comparison. It also doesn't mean to say both sides are insufficient. So many people have translated it as Duryodhana is thinking his side is sufficient, whereas Pandava's side is inadequate, his side is unlimited. But we translate it as our army led by Bhishma seems inadequate, whereas their force led by Bhima looks sufficient. The reason for this we did is even though we know that Pandava side had 7 Akshohinis and Kaurava side had 11 Akshohinis, but if you look at the tone of Duryodhana, how we came up to that, he was telling that there are many people, Bhima, Arjuna, Samayudhi on Pandava side. On his side, he was just telling Anyecha Bahava Shuraha, and he just named some few of them. So it's already telling, as I said, Bhima and Arjuna are the great people, and if many of them are like that, means that army is pretty strong. On the top of that, Bhishma is really not as serious as Bhima. Bhima is one of the most serious people, especially for Duryodhana, and he takes it really serious. If the army protected by Bhima has to be strong compared to an army protected by Bhishma, because he's half-hearted, his body is with Kauravas and his heart is with Pandavas. So based on that, we kind of said that Duryodhana is thinking his army is weak, whereas Pandava army is strong. It is also common human nature, people who are very greedy and they always feel insecure, and they feel what somebody else, even if they have less than what they have, they kind of think that, oh, they have more. It is kind of a kind of person he is. So Duryodhana is, our conclusion was he thinks that their army is weaker. And also the 7-11 is kind of interesting for me, for Hindus, for Sanatana Dharma, for Bharatiyas. For us, war means Mahabharata war. Whereas in America or Western countries, big war means for them World War II, or World War II. For us, big war means Mahabharata war. And the 7-Eleven always was stuck in my mind. So when I looked at the 7-Eleven stores here, that's what immediately came to my mind. So this is kind of talking about the Pandava and Kaurava army here. Aparyaptam tadasmakam
Aparyaptam tadasmakam
balam bhishmabhirakshitam
balam bhishmabhirakshitam
paryaptam tvidametesham
paryaptam tvidame
balam bhimabhirakshitam.
balam bhimabhirakshitam.
Now he addresses his army after telling this to Drona. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yatha bhagamavasthitah bhishmameva virakshantu bhavantah sarva evahi. Now he cautions his side in every movement, as you keep going, sarveshu, every one of you, yatha bhagam, each in your respective positions, stay there, stationed there, avasthitaha. But what you have to do, bhishmameva abhirakshantu. You should all protect Bhishma alone, or every one of you. Indeed, he says so. Position in your designated places. Every move, give maximum protection to Bhishma. So this is what he's telling to his side. This also kind of gives a clue. If someone who thought that his army was more powerful than the other side, he would not immediately say that give maximum protection to Bhishma. This also kind of gives a clue that he is probably thinking that his army is weaker. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu
Ayaneshu cha sarveshu
yatha bhagamavasthitah
yatha bhagamavasthitah
bhishmamevabhirakshantu
bhishmamevabhirakshantu
bhavantah sarva evahi.
bhavantah sarva evahi.
Now, after he told that to his army, of course, Bhishma is also listening to that. So, tasya sanjanayan harsham guru vruddha pitamaha simhanadam vinadyochaihi shankham dadmo prathapavan. So look at this word. Tasya sanjanayan harsham. To Duryodhana, Tasya means to Duryodhana, to make him, to cheer him up. Sanjanayan Harsha, make him delight, to cheer him up, bring forth delight into Duryodhana. Kuru Vriddha Pitamaha, Bhishma roars like a lion, and then he blows his conch very loudly, Uchaihi. And Dadmo, he blew Pratapavan with full of power and energy. So basically, to cheer Duryodhana up, Bhishma, the grand sire of the Kurus, roared aloud like a lion. That is where here it says Simhanadam Vinadyochaihi. Then blow his conch with full power. This also gives a clue when Bhishma is using the word here, Tasya Sanjanayan Harsham. So obviously Bhishma wanted to cheer him up. That means Duryodhana was depressed. Obviously, he would not think he would be depressed if he thought his army was much stronger. So this also gives a clue, gives what is going on in Duryodhana's mind. Tasya sanjanayan harsham
Tasya sanjanayan harsham
kuru vruddha pitamaha
Guru vruddhah pitamaha
simhanadam vinadyochaihi
simhanadam vinadyochaihi
shankham dadmo pratapavan.
shankham dadmo pratapavan.
So he is the Pitamaha, he is the real elder. So once he blew his conch, now everybody else started blowing their conch. Tatash shankascha bheryascha panavanakago mukhaha sahasaivaabhyahanyanta sashabdhastumulo bhavat. So tatash shankascha bheryascha Panavana Kagomukha Sahasaiva Abhyahanyanta Sashabdaha Tumalaha Abhavat. So now after Bhishma blew his conch, now at once all the people assembled their conches and kettle drums, side drums, cymbals, soft drums, trumpets. They all started resounding because lot of noise and tumult. And once Bhishma signaled, all the other people started blowing their conch and blowing the different instruments they had the battlefield. Tata Shankascha Bheryascha
ततः शङ्खाश्च भैर्यश्च
Panavanakago Mukhaha
पणवानकगोमुखाः
Sahasaivabyahanyanta
सहसैवाभ्यहन्यन्त
Sashabdastumulo Bhavat.
सशब्दस्तुमुलोऽभवत्
Tata Shvetairhayairyukte Mahatis Chandane Stito Madhava Pandavaschaiva Divyo Shanko Pradatmatuhu. Now, of course, after the Pandava side, where the Krishna and the Arjuna, their chariot was the white horses. They were yoked with the white horses. And now they started, Krishna and Arjuna, they're seated in their mighty chariot, which are drawn by white horses. They blew their divine conches. So each one of them had their own custom-made conches, and both Krishna and Arjuna blew their conch. Tata Shvetair Hayair Yukte
ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते
Mahatis Chandane Chito
महति स्यन्दने स्थितौ
Madhava Pandavaschaiva
माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव
Divyo Shanko Pradadmatuhu.
दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदध्मतुः.
Now he talks about the names of their conches. Panchajanyam Hrishikesho Devadhattam Dhananjayah Paundram Dadmo Mahashankam Bhimakarma Rukodaraha. So Panchajanya is the Hrishikesha is Krishna. His conch is Panchajanya. Then Devadatta is Dhananjaya is Arjuna's another name, conqueror of worlds. Devadatta is his conch. Then Bhima has conches, Poundram. Poundram is Bhima. Bhima Karma. Bhima is called Bhima Karma. He was doing very great feats. He was always very adventurous. One is doing ghastly deeds, doing of terrifying things. So it's called Bhima Karma. So they all Dadmo, Mahashankam, they all blew their conches. So Panchajanya by Krishna, then Devadatta by Dhananjaya, Arjuna, Poundram by Bhima. Now we can see why Duryodhana was so afraid of Bhima. Gets all these adjectives here. He is the Bhima Karma. It's known for performer of ghastly deeds. And the Vrukodara, of course, is the belly like a wolf. He can eat a lot, but he will never become fat. He never has a big tummy. It's always like a wolf. So he can eat a lot, but still remain like that. He doesn't have the battle of the bulbs. So Panchajanyam Rishikesho
पाञ्चजन्यं हृषीकेशो
Devadatam Dhananjayah
देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः
Paundram Dadmo Mahashankam
पौण्ड्रं दध्मौ महाशङ्खं
Bhimakarma Vrukodaraha.
भीमकर्मावृकोदरः.
Now, few other conches, a few other warriors' conches here. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthirah Nakulasthah Devascha Sughosha Manipushpako. Ananta Vijaya is the name of Yudhishthira's conch. Here his conch is, and he is the son of Kunti. Of course, all of them are Pandavas. Arjuna is also Kaunteya. Yudhishthira is also Kaunteya. Then his conch is Ananta Vijaya. Then for Nakula and Sahadeva, it is Sughosha and Mani Pushpaka. So King Yudhishthira blew his conch, Ananta Vijaya. Nakula blew his conch, Sughosha, and Sahadeva blew Mani Pushpaka. Ananta Vijayam Raja.
Ananta Vijayam Raja.
Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha.
Kunti Putra Yudhishthiraha.
Nakula Sahadevascha.
Nakula Sahadevascha.
Sughosha Mani Pushpakau.
Sughosha Mani Pushpakau.
A few more conches. Kashyascha Parameshwasah. Shikhandi cha Maharatah. Trishtadyumno Viratascha. Satyakista Parajitaha. Talking about few more warriors here. Kashya comes all these names, and then they say they blew their conch. King of Kashi, the supreme archer. Parameshwasa is supreme archer. Sikhandi is a mighty warrior. Drishtadyumna, Virata, Satyaki, the invincible. It continues. Kashyasta Parameshwasah.
Kashyascha Parameshwasah.
Sikhandi cha Maharatah.
Shikhandi cha Maharatah.
Drishtadyumna Viratascha.
Drishtadyumno Viratascha.
Satyakista Parajitaha.
Satyakischa Parajitaha.
A few more names. Drupado Draupadeyascha. Sarvasha Prithivipate. Saubhadrascha Mahavahu. Shankhan Dadmuhu Pritak Pritake. So here Drupada, then Draupadeyaha, sons of Draupadi. They're all together. They're all, now he addresses he's cheering up Dhritarashtra a little bit. He addresses Dhritarashtra, Prithivi Pate, you're the Lord of the earth. Then he's talking about these people. Saubhadra and Subhadra, that is the son of Subhadra is Abhimanyu. Then it's a mighty arm, Abhimanyu. They all blew. Shankhan, Dadmuhu, they blew their conches one by one. Pritak means respectively. One by one, they blew their conch. So Drupada, the son of Draupadi, and the strong-armed Abhimanyu, each blew his conch one by one. Pritak is Drupado Draupadeyascha.
Drupado Draupadeyascha.
Sarvasha Prithivipate.
Sarvasha Prithivipate.
Saubhadrascha Mahavahu.
Saubhadrascha Mahabahu.
Shankhan Dadmu Pritak.
Shankhan Dadmuh Prithak.
So now all these things, all this lot of noise, Saghosho Dhartarashtranam Hridayani Vyadarayat Nabhascha Prithivin Chaiva Tumulo Vyanunadayan. All this Goshanad, all this sound, big noise, basically it made Kaurava very depressed. It shook the very spirit of the Kaurava. The dreadful sound, it echoed through the earth and sky. So Nabha means sky, Prithivi means earth and sky. It echoed between earth and through the earth and sky. It shook the very spirit of the Kauravas. So again, it's also kind of it did not take the spirit of Pandavas, but the very spirit of Kauravas are shook. Because they are the ones who are more eager, they are more envious. So they are the ones who are feeling more shook by all this tumult, all this noise. Saghosho Dhartarashtranam.
Saghosho Dhartarashtranam.
Hridayani Vyadarayat.
Hridayani Vyadarayat.
Nabhascha Prithivin Chaiva.
Nabhascha Prithivim Chaiva.
Tumulo Vyanunadayan.
Tumulo Vyanunadayan.
So I will stop here. As I told, 45 minutes, taken 1 minute extra. So I will leave it to Hari and others to have any comments or any questions. Okay. Thank you.
Interesting thing with the commentaries on this chapter, both Shankara and Madhva have not commented on this chapter. Ramanuja has given some couple of comments, one for the 19th shloka and one in the end, I think. And the translation for the 10th shloka, which Dr. Sri Krishna said, kind of aligns with what Ramanuja also said in the commentary, that Duryodhana thinks his own army is insufficient, whereas the army of the Pandavas is adequate.
Anybody has any other comment?
One other small point with regard to Duryodhana's anxiety is in the Mahabharata, if you remember, the Pandavas were in the Ajnatavasa, in the incognito mode for about 1 year. After that, there was hardly a few months before the discussions for war took place. They were living in a place called Upaplavya. And by the time the war was fought, sometime in November of that year, the autumn season, Duryodhana must have been really surprised that these people who are kind of helpless and living in Virata's kingdom incognito and totally without any support, suddenly have put together this huge 7 Akshohini army. He thought maybe there will be some 20, 30 people who will come with them, or maybe 50 people, but he sees these 7 Akshohinis. He's probably also surprised how they were able to, put together such a huge army in such a short time, whereas these people have been in power for, like 12, 13 long years, and they should have had a much bigger army than that. So maybe that's also one of the reasons why he was surprised.
We see that parallel in the US election. Trump is really feeling how come Kamala Harris could put so many things, raise so much funds so quickly. he has been wanting president for all his 10 years. How come she is doing like that, little bit like the Pandavas? I talked a little bit about comparison, that what is not. Oh, somebody has questions, please. Yeah.
Uti, this is Shohini. I have a question. Actually, I have two questions. One is like your first slide. In the Vedas, I know it's a revealed knowledge by rishis and all. Was it always in Sanskrit? I mean, later it was documented. So whenever it started, was it always in Sanskrit, or was there any other language also?
As far as you know, it was all in Sanskrit. In fact, it looks like it was only in Sanskrit, and even the way they understood Vedas was using Sanskrit only. They used to, just like our children learn English through English, not like the way we learned it to do, but like that's so violent English between Kannada and English translation. Whereas children here learn English through English. So they were studying Sanskrit Vedas through Sanskrit only. So we have so many Samapata, Ganapata, all the different kinds of way of reciting the Veda. Just by telling that, they were getting the meaning, how they were. So I think Sanskrit was the... but it's also hard to imagine how there must have been something before that. I don't think Agni, Mele, Purohitam will immediately drop from without any something. Something must have been there before that. I don't think the most organized book is the Rig Veda. Every sutta in Rig Veda gives the Rishi's name, the Chanda's name, and which deity it is dedicated to. So such an organized book cannot be the very first book, very first thing, right? It's not exactly book, it was all oral tradition. to come up with such an organized composition must have been a lot of precursors to that, but we don't know what that language is.
Can I ask the second question? I don't know if anyone else has a question. Okay, just another question. What was the reason for the animosity between Karna and Bhishma?
Well, Karna kind of was always with Duryodhana. Whatever Duryodhana does and says, he was always supporting him. He was also misbehaving on behalf of Duryodhana, and he hated Pandavas. He was a lot of hatred towards Arjuna, and so Bhishma actually admires Karna as a great warrior. Actually, he knew Karna was, in fact, he says very few people can protect Hastinapura, and one of them was Karna, apart from Arjuna, Karna, and himself like that. But because of Karna was favoring the wrong side, but Karna had reason to do that also, because only Duryodhana recognized him, and other people were calling him as a Sutaputra and all those things. But Duryodhana made him a king of Angada, I gave him a kingdom, and all those things. So he also went and found some, Duryodhana had to marry someone, and he actually goes and fights for it. They had to fight for this sometime to win over the brides, and he actually fights on behalf of Duryodhana. So he is so loyal to Duryodhana, and Bhishma did not like Duryodhana. So I think because of that, they somehow, and Karna and Bhishma had a lot of misunderstandings because of that. But actually, once Bhishma has fallen down, when he goes, Karna plays a lot of respect to Bhishma, although then Bhishma also gives a lot of love to Karna. Even then, Bhishma says, why don't you fight on the side of Pandavas? Even at that time, he says, just like Krishna was asking him, Bhishma also asked him, you're a Kunti Putra, I know I've been told, Vyasa has told me, you should fight on that side. So,
okay, thank you.
That's probably the reason, yeah.
Sir, can I ask you one question? Can you please comment also on what is the animosity between Dronacharya and Drupada?
But that is like they were students. They were, early on, both were studied in the same place, could get their training in the same place. At that time, Drona was very good friend of Drupada, although was a king, Drona was a poor Brahmin, but they were very good friends when they were students there. And Drupada had told, in future, if you need anything, I can come to me like that. And Drona was in real, he's very poor, and he went to seek some assistance from Drupada. Basically, some kind of a financial assistance or even job under him, because Drona was very poor. Then Drupada says, no, I don't have any contact with you. I don't make friendship with people like you. So he basically ridicules he lets down Drona. So Drona takes that revenge after training all the Pandavas. So they have to give Guru Dakshina. All these Pandavas, he says, Guru Dakshina for me, the fee for me is go and capture Drupada, he tells Arjuna. So Arjuna basically captures Drupada and brings him as to Drona. So Drona basically lets him go, forgives him. So basically he humiliates him. So Drupada had humiliated Drona, and Drona humiliates Drupada. That is the cause of their animosity. And actually, Drishtadyumna kills Drona in the war, Mahabharata war. Because Drishtadyumna had vowed to kill Drona because Drishtadyumna said that Drona has insulted my father, Drupada's son, right? Drishtadyumna. So he says, I am going to take revenge and kill Drona in the war. So he actually kills him.
Thank you, sir.
Hari, you can say a few words about one thing missing in the Bhagavad Gita. We talked about Panchakosha, I mentioned it. So you mentioned the three stages, of our waking state and dream state, all those things is missing in Gita. Can you say a few words about it?
Yeah, sure. So, just like Dr. Sri Krishna said, the Pancha Koshas is an important concept which comes in the Taittiriya Upanishad, which doesn't come in the Gita. Another very important concept, which somehow is missed in the Gita, is the Avastha Traya, which is the three states of consciousness. All of us have three states of consciousness. I had also mentioned when I was speaking about the Gita. One is, of course, the wakeful state, like we are all wakeful now, hopefully. And then there is the Swapnavastha, which is the dream state. In the dream state, it feels real. Only when you come out of the dream into the Jagrata Avastha, we know it was a dream. But inside the dream state, the experiences are real. We feel as if the tiger is chasing us or we are fighting an army or whatever a dream is. Then there is a state of deep sleep, which is Sushupti, where absolutely there is no awareness of who we are, where we are, whether we are sleeping on a beautiful mattress which is made of a cotton, like a beautiful cotton, or you're sleeping on a hard floor, you're sleeping in a 5-star hotel, or you're sleeping on the street. You have no awareness from your point of view. Other people may say, oh, look at this guy fallen on the street, or somebody may say, oh, he's sleeping in a 5-star hotel. But from your point of view, you have no awareness. So this is the Sushupti state. So these three states of consciousness are considered very important in our tradition. They have been explained in detail in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and one of the main Upanishads, which is the out of the 10 or 12 principal Upanishads, the Mandukya Upanishad, which has just 12 verses, is entirely dedicated to the connection between the Omkara and the states of consciousness. And this is very important in Sanatana Dharma because one of the distinguishing factors between the Vedanta school of philosophy and all other schools of philosophy in the world is that it is only the Vedanta school or Vedanta Darshana which considers the human life in all its aspects. Otherwise, every other philosophy in the world has what we call as a Jagrit Abhinivesha, a bias towards the wakeful state. So all the philosophies are based on only the wakeful state of human beings, but Vedanta alone looks at the three states of consciousness, that is deep sleep, dream, and wakeful state. So this is an important idea which is not given, because we should remember Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between two friends. It is not meant to be a textbook of Sanatana Dharma.
Yeah.
It so happened that it has 99% of the fundamental ideas so beautifully captured that when the British came to India and they said, oh, we have Bible, what do you have? What kind of text do you have? In other religions, they have some book. What is that book of Hinduism? Then they had to choose some book, and out of that, Gita was seen to have the best summary of a Hindu thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Gita was the first book, Hindu book, to come to America also. Thank you, Hari. So we can conclude. It is little verse from, this comes from Drona in Mahabharata. Yato dharmas tata krishnaha, yata krishna tato jayaha. Morning, good night, and see you tomorrow. Anybody else? Anybody? Don't know.
Dhanyavada, sir. Thank you very much. Just before we leave, if anybody is not already in Gita English August 2024 batch, I am sharing the link in the Zoom chat. I request all of you to join that. Most of you might have already joined, but just in case, sharing the link again.